Hi, welcome to Monday Club. My name is Peter Bois.
And I'm Gus Davis.
And the nor'easter has not blown us away. We are here on Monday for you.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Monday Club! Hello, all you beautiful Monday maniacs out there. My name is Peter Bois. I'm here with my sultry voice mate, Gus Davis. Welcome to Monday Club. This week's episode, we cheers to a guy so drunk he doesn't recognize himself. Gus forgets where he lives. A nor'easter passes through the Northeast. And Peter has a corporate gig, which is me. Gus meets George Costanza's dad in the flight. What? And he teaches himself. What could you want more out of Monday? Welcome to Monday Club! Hey!
Cheers!
We're back for another week on Monday.
I'm so excited. Dude, you knocked out that intro. Good job.
Hell's bells, man. I'm in it to win it today.
I give you a personal challenge from me to you that you work in Hell's Bells at least 2 more times in the show. Just bring it back, man. Bring it back.
You were on. You were on.
Well, dude, it's so good to see you, man. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. Great to see you and our sound engineer, James Caldwell, behind you. It's a wonderful day when he's in the picture, too.
It's a good party when James and I are both in the same space. It's like we got the whole band back together.
Yeah, what space is that today? Because I don't see your regular Austin surrounding you currently.
I haven't been. This is my 3rd recording of Monday Club being on the road. Today marks my 3-week mark of being on tour, and I get to go home in just a couple of days. But it's rough out here for a pimp, man. I'm in Hays, Kansas today, recording from a Best Western. So if you hear any hotel noises happening during this recording, this is my apology to all of you Monday Clubbers out there.
I hear Best Western does not have the best Wi-Fi.
No. They're more on the Western than the Future. I wish I was at a Best Future. Then I would have all the Wi-Fi access I need.
Well, we can still hear you. We can see you. And it's Monday. So what more could you want out of today? How about a cheers of the week?
Let's do it.
All right. So this week, we are cheersing to a guy so drunk he doesn't even know himself.
So,
how does that happen? You want to elaborate?
I don't know, man, but So I've seen this happen before, where somebody picks up a lighter and they're so drunk that they try to light the lighter and smoke it like it was a cigarette. I've seen that before, and that's you need to go home, man. You're drunk, right? Yeah. But this is a video that is far longer than it should be. Do you know what I mean? You're watching it and you're like, oh my God, surely he's going to figure this out, but he never does. And it's this older guy who is just blitzed out of his gourd, and he is faced with a mirror that's next to an archway, and this guy is so drunk that he keeps bumping into himself in front of the mirror, and he gets more and more frustrated, and he's like, no, you go ahead. No, go ahead. It's your turn. And he's ushering himself through, and then he'll say, well, screw it, fine, I'll go. And then he'll walk and he'll bump into himself. And it just keeps going and going and going. It's hilarious how long this guy can't figure it out. And I guess he's so drunk he just can't recognize himself. I don't know. Yeah,
it's weird. I'm just watching it again. He touches the mirror too, and he pushes himself back. At one point, there's a time when you think he's about to punch himself in the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting really frustrated, which is part of the fun of watching it. Do you think this was a hoax, or do you think this guy was really this drunk?
That's tough. If it was 10 to 20 seconds, I would say real, but this goes on for a minute. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I am not sure.
So,
I can't tell for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, because if it's a hoax, he sells it really well. And if it's not, then clearly this guy is done for the night.
It looks like
my question to you is, if you're watching this happen, what do you do? Do you just film it? Do you try to help the guy? Do you not get involved because you don't want to get involved in crazy? Like, what's your stance on how to handle this situation?
You do exactly what this person did. You film it. You you just record. You know what I just noticed? I think this is a work party or this is like some sort of security desk because there's a computer on the table, and so whoever's recording this is behind a desk with a computer, and so imagine if he was with all his coworkers doing this the next day. He's like, "Oh man, I woke up with a strange guy. I didn't even know who it was, and it turns out it was me.
It was me. I took the cutest person home there. It turns out it was me." You know what? Cheers to you, drunk man, and for finally figuring out that you're hitting yourself.
Cheers. Definitely worth 60 seconds to watch this guy not recognize himself.
Hey, so before we move on and we do what are we drinking, I gotta ask, man, what's the drunkest you've ever been? And I know that's kind of a leading question because it should have some subcategories to it. But do you have any, like, where you just recognize, like, oh crap, I am doing some dumb drunk stuff?
I remember the first time I ever got drunk. I'm going way back.
Okay.
Where not the first time. It was one of the inside 10 times I had any alcohol. This was at a high school party, and I was doing somersaults down the stairs. and there was a point in the night where I realized, oh my god, everybody's gonna be talking how stupid I am tomorrow at school.
Did you get hurt, or did you have the floppy drunk bones?
I just had the floppy drunk bones, man. I was just all over the place. I was like, whoa, this is so good. I'll just chalk that up to inexperienced drinking. And you know how you want to be so cool when you're like in high school, you know?
Yeah.
I totally didn't pass the test.
For me, I think I was also in high school. I know I was at least living with my mom at the time, and I didn't want to come home smelling like I was drunk, and so drunk logic kicked in. I was like, well, if I smell like other stuff, she won't know that I was drinking, right? So I went to I basically broke into my next door neighbor's backyard. And I mean, we were okay. We weren't best friends or anything like that, but like, they've been our neighbor for a few years, so I guess drunk logic said, so it'd be cool if they caught me. Anyway, I broke into their backyard, and they had 2 dogs, and I like wrestled with their dogs for like 10 minutes, and got like, and when I say wrestle, I mean like full on got in the mud and the grass, and like just rolled around with them. So I had dog and mud and grass on me all over the place. And then I walked in the door thinking, hell yeah, I'm gonna smell like dog and grass, not like alcohol. And then nobody was there, and I realized I totally screwed up my pants and my shirt for no reason.
That was brilliant. I remember this one time when I lived in Boston, I had my buddy come over, and we went to this place about a mile from my house where I was living at the time, and we had a lot to drink, and I don't know why I took off on him. I started running through people's backyards. I think he pissed me off. He must have said something, and I was like, all right, find your own way home. Find your own way back to my house that you've never been to before. And I just took off on him, running through people's houses, and then I kept calling him, and he would pick up, and I'd go, lost. You're so lost. Lost. You're so lost. Oh, I was such a dickhead. I don't know why I did that.
That's some funny drunk stuff to do. I'm trying to think of something else that I did that was ridiculous. For my high school graduation, I got to go. My best friend and I went to Cozumel, and we got an all-inclusive package to go to this hotel and resort in Cozumel. And when you get an all-inclusive package, it includes a wristband where they just keep bringing you free drinks. It's like alcohol is part of the package. And I remember I was like, oh, yeah, well, I've been drinking for a while. I got this. And so I started hitting those hurricanes and those tropical drinks pretty hard. And then the next thing I knew, it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and instead of sleeping in my hotel room, I woke up on the beach. I had passed out on the beach and just slept there all night. And so I'm like waking up to the sun. I'm on the beach in Mexico. I have no idea where I am or how to get back to the hotel. Just out on the beach.
Oh, Mexico.
That's right.
Oh,
I still had both of my kidneys, so that was good.
I have a Mexico story. I went to Mexico with the same friend. Because I had worked for this travel agent company doing magic shows at like 2 to 6 a.m. in the morning while people waited in line to go on their chartered flight to Mexico, and they paid me in travel dollars. So I accumulated all these travel dollars, and so I took
travel dollars are not real dollars, Pete. That's not real money.
I know, but it got me like 3 trips to Mexico.
Okay.
So I took my buddy and we met these girls out, and basically it ended up me making out with this girl on the beach and calling her the wrong name, and she stormed off on me. That's one of the more embarrassing moments.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that's awesome. You're like, girl, come back. I'll buy you something with these travel dollars.
I kept trying new names, but it just didn't work.
Oh my god.
Oh, I did feel terrible.
I think you deserve a cheers.
Thanks, man. Oh, well, what am I drinking tonight? I'm having 2 fingers of whiskey, Woodford Reserve with a little bit of ice. Yeah, feels like one of those high class nights we're talking about. Really drunk nights.
Well, nice. I am also having whiskey. I am drinking a Black Barrel, Jameson Black Barrel, and to be super super cool, on this, like I said, I've been on this tour for about 3 weeks, and now I'm at that full-on raging alcoholic stage of travel. So I went and got myself a new flask. I don't know if you can see that or not.
I can see that very well.
Yeah, it's a flask, and it says "Don't judge me" on it, which I've brought to all the movies that I've gone to on this tour, and it's been my new best friend. So yeah, I too am drinking whiskey, though not in an iced glass. I'm drinking straight out of a flask, my friend.
Oh, hell's bells, brother. Yeah. And we are not judging you. We are just envious of your beautiful flask with a cool saying on it. Oh, thank you guys for listening to our stupid shit. We really appreciate it. We love you all. Make sure you check us out on iTunes and give us a little love, a little rating up there. Help spread the word. Tell your friends about Monday Club. Tell them to join. That's all you have to do is listen every Monday to Monday Club, our crazy drunk stories and road stories. And you can listen on Spotify and YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Or if you want to buy us a drink, if you're sick of hearing us drink of these Woodford Reserve or silly Capri Sun drinks at Gus Drinks, you can buy us a drink. MondayClubPodcast@gmail.com. Just PayPal us what you want us to drink and the money for it at that email address, and we will drink it and tell you what we think of it on air.
And certainly give you a shout-out, absolutely. Yeah, just remember, Monday Club, the first rule of Monday Club is you do talk about Monday Club. So tell a friend.
Yes. Oh, man. So what's been happening in my life? We finished. Yeah. I mentioned a while ago we were remodeling our kitchen, and it's done. Sort of.
Yeah.
The only thing.
Sort of? What does sort of mean?
The only thing we have is the backsplash on the wall.
Now, are you doing that yourself, or are you having somebody come in and do that?
I am hiring a professional.
Oh, it's probably smart. I want to redo my. Well, first of all, let me get this out of the way. Congrats, man! I know that's been a 3-month-long pain in the ass to get done. So kudos to you. I'm super excited for you.
Thanks.
I want to redo my bathroom at our house, and I like total remodel of the bathroom. I want to change out the tile on the floor and on the shower, and I want to redo our cabinets and our sink in our bathroom. And I'm at that weird stage where it's like I kind of think I want to do that myself. And I know when I start, I'm going to be like, see, it's not that hard. You just do this. I watched a YouTube video. It's like 15 minutes on the YouTube video. I got this. And then about halfway through, I'm going to be like, well, crap.
Gus, let me offer you some words of advice. It was a pain in the ass just coordinating this with other people. If I had to actually do the work and order the materials and bring them in and do things myself, that would have been insane. Do not put yourself through that. You've been on the road for 3 weeks. Take some of that change and just and hire a professional and do it upright, because it's a real pain in the ass, man. I mean,
I hear
tile
what you're
work
saying. I really hear what you're saying.
It's tedious, and you screw up, you're breaking a lot of shit and losing a lot of money if you screw up.
No, I totally hear what you're saying. The flip side of that is that no one's going to get it right like I'm going to get it right. Like, I'm one of those people, when I do stuff, all of the tile is all going to be perfectly straight and it's going to line up exactly and all of that. I've seen people do stuff, even people who do good work, I've seen where, they scratch something or it's not exactly right, and then I'm going to feel weird about being like, hey, can you start over and do that one tile, because it's pissing me off.
Have you done tile work before?
No.
Oh, well then definitely hire somebody. Don't practice on your own house. What the hell?
No, man, I got this. I'll document it and I'll post it to our Monday Club social media.
Man, everybody. You're right though. People do screw up. We ordered our kitchen faucet, and it came in and it looked right to me at the store, at the pickup place. And I brought it home, and the day we were supposed to get everything installed, I look at it and I compare it to the soap dispenser finish, and it's the wrong finish. They ordered the wrong one, so I had to run out. Luckily, they had the right one in stock, so I had to drive out there in the morning and exchange it, get the right one, and bring it back. It's a real pain. Real pain.
I've had that happen with every single thing that I've had contract out. Like from when my grandmother built a room addition onto my mom's house, to even just getting appliances delivered to my house. When someone else did it, it was not right. I had to either redo it or get on them about it and be like, hey, is the refrigerator supposed to be leaning to the left at 10 degrees, or is that a feature, or are we going to fix that? How does that work? So,
here's an early teachable moment.
I got this.
Yeah, don't trust anybody to do this work for you. Like, you have to be on them like crazy to make sure everything gets done right, and don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be like, they're professionals, they know what they're doing. If you see something off, just mention it. Otherwise, you're going to get screwed over big time.
Yeah, this is an early teachable moment, because I also want to say that if you remember, you and I were doing recording a Monday Club when my the future house that I was going to buy was getting inspected, so I wasn't there for the inspection. Do you remember that? Okay,
yes.
So the very first day that we moved in, we also got appliances delivered, and they couldn't hook up any of the appliances because whoever had inspected our house had missed that some of the handles were broken off of the gas lines. And so I had to get a plumber to come out and fix the gas lines before we could get anything attached. And that wouldn't have happened had I been there and been on them and just walked through and be like, hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? Hey, what about that thing? So, early teachable moment. Don't be scared to be a dick when someone's either inspecting your house or installing shit in there.
No one cares as much as you.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So what else you been up to?
Dude, I signed my 2-year-old up for soccer.
Do they use regular size balls for 2-year-old soccer?
No, they have miniature balls, 2-year-olds.
Wait, say that again.
2-year-olds have miniature balls. They're size 3. Size 5 is a professional MLS, World Cup adult league ball, and size 3 are for the 2-year-olds.
Oh my God, you're gonna have so much fun. Are you gonna be one of those dads that's out there just like getting serious and intense and like play some defense, or are you just gonna have fun watching everybody sit down and chew on flowers?
I'll definitely at this age it's just about having fun. I just want him to learn not to pick it up with his hands. That's my goal. If he knows that a soccer ball is just supposed to be kicked by the end of all this, it's a big win. It's a big win. They don't even play. Basically, there are like 30 kids in the class plus parents who are on the field, and they break them up into 3 groups, and they have stations, and they're just trying to get them to pass. And one's like an obstacle course, so they can work on running, and the other one is he was basically just running around the field. He was the kid that was looking at, because it was in this big field house with basketball courts right by the soccer field, and and he was just standing there watching the basketball kids play basketball for 3/4 of the whole time, and then he's running around, and then he picks up the soccer ball and he throws it, and he got the last drill, which he really loved, laying down on the ground. And then when they said go, no, that's not the end of it. And when they said go, he had to run to the ball, his ball, and kick it into the goal. And by the end of it, I got him not to pick up the ball with his hands and to actually kick it. And so
nice.
There is hope. There is hope.
No, you got this, man. Let me tell you that my son is not super sports inclined. I've been working with him for a long time on how to throw and catch and all that stuff. And 2 years ago, I put him in an after-school baseball program to try to help him with his throws and catches. And being the dad that I am, I drove him to his first practice, and we got there, and it was a bunch of like soccer moms, for lack of a better term, right? Just all these moms were there, and me driving my kid there. And we get there, and the coach didn't show up for the first day of baseball practice. So there was about 30 kids that were 5, 6, and 7 in his group. And they had the equipment, like they had balls and gloves and stuff like that, but there was no coach. And so everyone was just kind of standing around, and I was like, well, I mean, I didn't really play baseball in high school, but I mean, I know how to throw and catch. So I like made up all of these completely made up drills. I was like, all right, kids, everybody get on the line. I'm going to throw balls out into the field, and you guys go get them and run them back. Okay? Ready, set, go. And I like put together all these bullshit baseball drills for these 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. And it was so great. It was like I got to be a sports hero for a day. And then I never went back because it was stupid.
Oh, man. Did you get your money back for...
No. And the coach did end up getting there, but you'll learn this, man. I'm speaking some wisdom to you as having an older kid. Everyone's going to get a trophy. You're going to look back on this experience and you're going to be like, wow, I'm glad that he had something fun to do, but he sure didn't learn a goddamn thing. Soccer deal.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're
going to have fun.
It'll be fun. Speaking of my kids,
get some good pictures.
Speaking of my kids, my other kid, my dog, our doggy daycare. I know it sounds so stupid. Doggy daycare is closing, and it is actually important for us because when I hit the road, my wife brings the dog to the daycare, and so by the time she picks him up after work, he's exhausted because he's played all day with other dogs, and so he doesn't bother her for the rest of the night when I'm on the road, so it's a lot easier. Anyways, our dog daycare is closing, and we have to move him to the most pretentious doggy daycare ever.
Now, what do you mean by pretentious?
They have a distinction. Do you know the term matriculation?
Yeah, when you graduate.
Yeah, matriculated or non-matriculated. They have a term for their dogs where they use that term. Matriculated dogs or non-matriculated. So matriculated means you have a schedule. You're there 1 to 5 times a week. And then non-matriculated is when you're not going regular. And then they have a spa at this place.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which is grooming.
I hate this place. Yeah, I hate this place.
Us too. And their prices reflect when you're not matriculated because we can't commit to a weekly schedule, so because my schedule's all over the place, so we just want to bring them, when we want to, but they want a schedule, and if you don't bring them on the schedule, then you have to pay like $6 more a day to bring him to this doggy daycare. And then tomorrow I have to go for a 30-minute evaluation period. So I'm taking my dog to this doggy daycare a half an hour away for a 30-minute eval period. So he's just basically going to go play with dogs, and when he doesn't bite any other dog, it means he's passed. But they probably have a checklist about 100 things. Speaking of they had the application period with it was like 3 pages of questions about this dog. I mean, really, the only question you need like 3 questions, right? Are you spayed? Is it spaded or neutered? Okay. Are you up to date on all your vaccinations? And does it bite other dogs or people?
Right.
Right. And
done. 3 questions.
2 yeses and a no, and you should be in.
You only need 66% on this thing, and you're good. Yeah. I'm sorry you have to deal with that pretentious place, man. I've seen those places, because it's funny. There's some places, it's like having kids, right? It's like there's some places that are like, hey, do you got $40 a week? Cool. Done. Bring your own food. And then there's other places that are like, well, you can always log in on a webcam and watch your dog play during the day and all of that stuff. And it's, man, anyway, I'm sorry you guys have to deal with that.
Yeah, whatever. It's crazy, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Just annoying.
Yeah.
You just want to just bring him to the daycare, get him, tired, and bring him home.
Yeah. Yeah, well, good luck to y'all with that. I can't wait to hear some stories of some pretentious things, especially not just with your dog, but you're going to meet other dog owners that are equally as pretentious. So keep an eye out for that. All right, so for me, like I said, dude, I've been on the road for like 3 whole weeks straight, and one of the things that is keeping me going is I've discovered some new puzzle games on my phone. And since I know a lot of those people who listen to Monday Club are also on the road a lot or traveling a lot or just need a distraction, I have a couple of suggestions for you guys to download. Now, I've done these on my I have an iPhone, so these are all iOS games, but I think these also translate to other cell phone carriers, so just check them out and see what you can find. They're all puzzle games, so they're all games where you have to kind of solve puzzles. Some of them are more discovery games, some of them are actual logic puzzles. But the first one I want to tell you about is Forever Lost. Have you ever played that game before?
No, I never have.
Okay, it's great. Slightly creepy, not scary, just kind of creepy. Nothing's going to jump out at you or anything like that, but the puzzles are legit. The graphics are legit. It won't burn out your battery that much, and it is a great way to pass some time, especially on airplanes. It is a great airplane game. Right. So, and there's, I think, 3 Forever Lost. So check those out. Forever Lost is made by a game company called Glitch, and Glitch has just a giant roster of puzzle games. So check out the Alice game, All That Remains. I just finished that one. The Forgotten Room is a game I'm playing right now, and all of them are just top notch. Really, really good. Fun exploring puzzle games. Also, you should check out the Room series. If you've never played the Room, I think most puzzle games, like most escape room games on apps, they say it's like the Room, because it is the Cadillac of all puzzle games. It's gorgeous graphics. It's really fun to explore the rooms and figure out all of those puzzles. So check that out.
I played that one,
and then
I've played the first 2 in the Room series and loved them both. Yeah, so I can second that recommendation.
Cool. Well, there's I think there's 4 of them in that series now, Pete. So you have some catching up to do. And then there's a game called Agent A, which is also kind of a puzzle-based explore fun game. It's more cartoony than the others that I'm talking about, but it is equally as fun to explore and be a secret agent and do spy stuff while you're solving puzzles. So anyway, check those out, all you Monday Club Road Warriors out there. It is a fun thing to do.
I will.
Nice. This week in the news.
So this week in the news, there's crazy shit happening all over the place. You want to lead this one?
Sure. I kind of look this week in the news segment is relatively new for us here at Monday Club. We've only been doing it for about a month or so, and when we have our pre-show meetings, we really try to have this week in the news segments that aren't depressing. It's Monday. We are not trying to depress you at all, but we also do want to bring up at least one sort of serious topic. And this week, that's what's been in the news so much is all of the students that are protesting and walking out. I believe it's on April 20th is the big walkout, or national walkout for gun control and gun safety in schools in the wake of the Florida shooting. And since we work a lot of colleges and high schools, I think it's important that we talk about this walkout. So, Pete, first of all, what is... When you were in school, did you ever have like a thing that you and all of the people that were around you, like a topic, a hot topic that you guys protested for or walked out for or anything like that?
There were at least 2 walkouts when I was in high school that we were protesting. I can't remember what we were protesting. I just remember being all in on the walkout because then I went home or I went to go hang out at my buddy's house.
Right. It's a weird catch-22 because I think when you're in high school, there is a sense of, hey, we want to be part of this, but there's also that other part of you that's like, also, I am not about to go to biology. So
yeah, is there a way I
y'all are walking out? Let's do this.
Skip class and not really get, detention for this? What?
Right. So for us. There was when I was in high school, there was the O.J. Simpson trial happened, and it brought up a whole lot of social injustice and people upset about the ruling or happy about the ruling, and we had a walkout for social injustice at our high school for that, and it was an interesting thing to be a part of because part of it your high school brain, part of it you're like, I mean, this is silly, right? And then the other part of it you're like, I mean, but it is a legit issue. So that was for us. For the survivors of this Florida shooting, this most recent shooting, man. Those kids have been in the national spotlight like hardcore, and one of the things that I think a lot of people, I saw this on Jimmy Fallon, and I saw a couple of senators post about this. I think Oprah even said something about this. Was like, look, this student body has gotten activated and are using a lot of the same tactics that have been used for, like in the '60s, for the movement to get soldiers out of Vietnam. And I agree with that. I think that their voices are super powerful right now and are actually getting a lot of attention. I don't know if it's going to change anything, but I do think it is important that they try to stay as much in the national spotlight as possible.
Yeah, I think, go for it. I mean, it's definitely going to mean a lot to the people, the kids at that school. During the walkout, it's really going to have meaning. And then I feel like it's going to have meaning, different schools throughout the area. And then I think a lot of students are just going to be like, yeah, I don't want to go to school today.
Right. Yeah, well, I also think, especially if they can organize a national walkout, I think it will be good for the activists, the students that are especially active at that school. I think Emma is getting a lot of social media publicity. I think it'll be important for them to see something that they started have coverage on a national level. So anyway, for all of you kids out there, all of you people in high school, in colleges that are following this, are supporting it, you have the Monday Club seal of approval. We hope that you guys be safe out there, and that we wish you the best in changing the world to the way that you see that it needs to be, because you guys are the ones literally in the crosshairs.
This week, we make up the news. All right, going from serious to silly.
All hell's bells.
Oh, yeah. Cheers, that one. So this is a new segment to counteract our serious in the news. No, to just offer a little bit of difference. So this week in the, we make up the news is I look through the news articles and I find headlines, 5 to 10 depending on my mood, headlines, and I read these to Gus for the first time on the air. He's never heard these before. They are real headlines that I have found on the internet somewhere, various news sources, actual headlines, and like I said, Gus has never heard these before, and Gus is going to tell us what these articles are about. Now, like I said, he's never heard these articles, so he doesn't know. So he's going to make it up. So this is your little our disclaimer. These are not real news stories, real headlines. Don't call us out on spreading fake news. Okay, so here we go.
That's right. Literally, I've never heard any of these before. My goal is to make up what the story is of these headlines.
Yeah, and if you believe this stuff, you've been warned. You're an idiot.
That's right. No emails.
Yeah. Headline: Ravens are evolving, and not in the way you'd expect.
Yeah, I heard about this. This is on the Wildlife Channel. Ravens, which have always been evil birds, are evolving where they're setting up their own religious organization status. So they've gone from just being categorized as wildlife to actually having a church, the Church of Ravens,
and they don't have to pay taxes anymore.
They don't have to pay taxes anymore.
Damn.
Which and they do tithing. So other birds have to bring them extra bird seed. But don't fall for it, Monday Club. It's definitely a scam. I don't trust anything with talons. So yeah, that's terrible.
The Church of Ravens. You've heard it here on Monday Club. Headline: 6 things smart people do to have really interesting conversations. Gus, would you tell us about these things that smart people do?
So the problem with the problem, Monday Club, as we all know from being incredibly intelligent, is that when you're incredibly intelligent, and I'm not talking about like average intelligence. I mean, when you're really, really smart, is that you are super boring to talk to because other people will say stuff and you'll be like, well, that's actually not correct. Ravens actually do have to pay taxes because they're categorized as wildlife. So when you're really smart, they've come up with 6 things to talk about. The first one that people talk about, I'll highlight my 3 favorites from people who are really smart. The first thing that you do when you're really smart but you want to have a normal conversation is you ask people if they like to skateboard.
Huh? In skateboarding,
it just throws
really?
a monkey wrench. Yeah. Just like, hey, do you like to skateboard? And people are like, what? And then it kind of it lets you kind of go down to their level in conversation. So that's the first one. Another one people like to do is they say, hey, do you still have a calculator? Which brings up so many topics, right? It's like, then people like, I mean, I guess on my phone, and then you talk about phones and it's kind of, it leads them down the path of technology without scaring them about your since you're really smart.
I often talk about multiplication. Yeah. That's a good one.
And the last one, this is a no-brainer if you're super smart, but you say things like, hey, have you seen my Tesla that's in space? And that's really good. That's like it's an icebreaker point of conversation.
Yeah, there could be a lot of conversation that stems from that.
Yeah. Like space and Teslas and mine. So yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, okay, great. I'm glad we're learning about these amazing articles. Thank you for researching all this stuff. Headline:
You're welcome. Yeah.
Texas punter Michael Dickson gets eyebrow-raising question by Seahawks at the Combine. What did they ask him to do?
they asked him if he was really going to put the name Dickson on the back of his jersey. Because when I think of the worst things that you can have on the back of your jersey, it's kicker and Dickson. So like nobody wants to get kicker in the Dickson. That's just not. You're just gonna get made fun of. So yeah, they were asking him if he was gonna have that, or if they could make up their own names for him, like kickballs or just Kick Dick, or if he's gonna have his whole name on there, like Kick Dickson.
I love that.
Yeah,
thanks for explaining that.
You're welcome.
Headline: How to stop biting your nails with these 6 easy life hacks. I have this problem, Gus. This is real personal and serious to me. So, how do I stop biting my nails?
This is actually this headline has 6 things, but when in doing this research, it reminds me of when I was in elementary school. I had a friend. It was a good friend in elementary school. Guy was a cool guy, and he had a problem of biting his nails. He would always bite his nails. And I had a super mean teacher who would dip. This is not a joke. She would every morning. She would take Scotch tape and wrap it around his fingernails, and then she would dip them in glue to try to keep him from biting his fingernails. Yeah, thinking about it back as an adult, it's like, man, the dude probably ingested like half a pound of glue. Like now that he's a janitor for life because he's got no more brain cells. It's probably not safe.
Part of his plan, because your mouth is near your nose, so if you pretend to be eating your nails, you just go, every time your fingers get up near your nose, you're sniffing the glue.
You're just sniffing the glue. Yeah, I mean, maybe he peaked at elementary school. So yeah, there are other forms of torture that you can do to yourself, but real talk. Putting tape and glue on your fingers, not necessarily the best ways, but they are deterrents.
Oh, good. Well, ask Gus the other 5 next time you buy him a drink at the bar. I'm sure he'll be willing to impart this knowledge on you. Headline: Fast food workers reveal what you should never order.
Yeah, and this was a shock to me. Okay, it truly was a shock. But when I read through the article, it was fast food. What fast food workers said that you should never order off of the menu, and it turns out that the answer is everything. You really shouldn't eat fast food. It's actually none of it's healthy for you, and it's funny that these brave men and women working in fast food stepped forward to the limelight, did all the research, and came back with the idea of, just don't eat here. How about that?
Wow. Thank you for all this knowledge. That deserves a big round of applause for Mr. Gus Davis. Wow. We are smarter today because of you. Thank you, Gus, for giving us all the down low on this week when we make up the news.
Cheers.
Hey, it's time for Stories from the Road.
So I've been on the road slightly a little bit. I had a corporate holiday party. Not holiday. It's not the holiday. A corporate party. I did some strolling magic for in Boston. So it was they said it was 70 people, but it had to have been maybe 50 tops for 2 hours at a bowling alley called King's.
Ouch.
And so I was doing magic while people were bowling and some people were not bowling. And so, 2 hours. So you reach in your bag of tricks and you take out all the long ones. And then you reach back in the bag of tricks and you take out the rest of them.
Yep.
And but they were a good bunch. It went very well.
Were they into bowling, or were they happy that you're doing magic for them?
They were happy I was there. They really like magic, and the guy who hired me liked magic because he kept coming back to see the new stuff I was doing to different groups. So he would just like pop in for a trick or two while I was with another group. You could tell he was just really into magic, so he just kept hiring.
That's cool.
And apparently they had magicians for the last 3 or 4 years. And here's an epidemic problem in when you're doing magic shows is nobody remembers magicians' names, right?
Yeah, it's
Whenever
true.
you're like, someone tells you, I saw a magician, And you say, oh, who was it? And they're like, I don't know, but, he did this thing, and nobody remembers your name. So this woman told me that, so I just kept trying to imprint my name on their heads. I was like, hi, my name's Peter. Yeah, Peter. Yeah, it's Peter here, Peter. Yeah, I'm doing the cool stuff with the cards. Peter, right here. And so it was a good party. I got I think we talked about this last week. I got someone came up to me and said, I must be so stupid. Magicians always fool me so badly. And I said, no, if we didn't, I'd be wasting my entire life. So it's a good thing.
Right.
But no,
it's so man. That's back to what we were talking about last week. That statement it's kind of backhanded, right? It's like what they're trying to say is, hey, you fooled me really bad, and that was cool. I mean, that's where they should stop. But what they're actually saying is, man, I'm dumb. So, yeah. I mean, you could have flicked on a light switch and saved yourself 10 years of working on your invisible path.
Oh, you know what else always gets me? I got it last night, and it hits me as weird. We're grown adults, right? I'm up here. I'm going to do some magic tricks for you, hopefully to make, hit that crazy wonder feeling, and also maybe laugh and smile a little bit and have a good time. And this woman says, she just looks at me very serious, and before I even start a trick, and she's like, I'm a skeptic. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Magic isn't real, but hopefully we have a good time. And as soon as we said that, she started laughing and let down her guard. It's just so weird to me that apparently she's met magicians in the past that have really tried to pass off what they do as witchcraft and real magic and insulting intelligent human adults
one of the reasons I think you and our group of magician friends are all friends is because none of us come at it with the idea of trying to convince someone that what we're doing is real. Like if someone came up to me and was like, hey, is that real? I'm never going to answer that as yes, you should change your religion right now. Like that's not the point of it. It's more like, hey, did you have a good time? Good. Awesome.
Book me next time.
I did my job.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that was interesting, but I guess that was probably a product of magicians she's probably seen in the past that take themselves either too seriously or just, I don't know. It was just weird, but it was nice that I just pulled that out and she let down her guard and we had a good time. But good gig, and I didn't get any bowling in though. That was the only problem.
Oh, it's too bad. I didn't get any Dippin' Dots at our Dippin' Dots show either. Yeah, we ended up. So actually, that was a nice little transition because we get to the city that our show was in, our corporate show, and they were having crazy floods down the Ohio River. Like the water was up 58 feet from average. And they were putting in their storm walls, and our hotel was quite literally touching the storm wall. In fact, a couple of years before, the previous hotel that was in that spot was just a couple feet behind that storm wall, and it had gotten flooded and destroyed. So the weather there was nuts, and it wasn't like it was pouring down rain. But even on our drive up there, we stopped at a Sonic, and the waters were up so high that the Sonic had to block off parts of the parking lot, or else your car would have gotten flooded.
Oh,
so
wow.
They were trying to make a path to get through. And what was weird, it's like because I don't live in a space with an actual river by us, it was strange because it was just sprinkling. It wasn't raining that hard, but they have the Ohio River right there, which affects Illinois and Missouri and just like a whole band of states right there. So it wasn't bad where we were at, but a couple of states over, it had gotten flooded, and all of that water was just coming right down the Ohio River down out into the ocean. And so we actually had a note on our door when we checked into our hotel. It was like, hey, welcome to the hotel. If you hear the sirens, everything's canceled and you should leave. Oh. So, just keep that in mind.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah. So that we left from there and then flew to Philadelphia, and as we're flying, so I had so much stuff happen to me. One, as we're flying into Philadelphia, the winds kick up. And I'm sitting next to some super nervous flyers who are just there, like, just rocking back and forth and praying the entire time that we're about to land. And it is, it's bumpy. It's bumpy. It's not nearly the worst turbulence I've ever been on, but it is definitely bumpy. And so it's just weird sitting there and trying to be like, hey, it's gonna be okay, when they're totally freaking out, like tears in their eyes, freaking out. And we land and we get off the plane, and it's pouring down rain there, and we look up at the where the baggage claim sign is that tells all the flights, and you can just see canceled, all of these flights that are supposed to be coming in. And we're like, what's happening? And it turns out the big nor'easter was blowing through right there. They had like 40-mile-an-hour winds that were kicking in, and so all flights were starting to get grounded. I think they canceled something like 2,800 flights, so we just barely made it in for our show.
Damn.
And we check into our hotel, and I posted a video of this. The wind was blowing the snow. It started pouring down snow too, and the wind was blowing the snow sideways. I've never seen it seriously snow sideways, but without hyperbole, it was literally snowing that way instead of down. So that was kind of creepy.
I've been in that snow before. I mean, I grew up in Maine, so but
right.
Yeah, it's crazy when you're just walking and it's hitting you dead. Directly
in the face, or in my case, it would wet willy me all the time, and that would piss me off.
You're like, who's behind me, spitting in my ears with their fingers?
Exactly. So we called the school that we're working, and the school is like, "Hey, yeah, we're still having this show. We don't ever cancel the shows on this night. So if you guys could still drive up and do the show, that'd be great." And we were like, yeah, I mean, if we can make it in a blizzard, we sure will. And then they were like, yeah, we're not going to have anybody there to help you either. And there's going to be stairs, and you got to park outside and drag all your crap in. And we were just like, oh, this show's going to be terrible. But we got there, and they saw our sad faces, and they came out and helped us. So it was all good. But yeah, that was it was weird going from floods to nor'easters, and then the next morning it was totally fine. It was like the wind stopped blowing. It was totally fine. But we were watching the news, and 100 miles from us, people had died, and the power lines had gotten ripped out, and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, it was a little touch and go there for a minute.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We had obviously the nor'easter up here in Maine too, and I'm a couple miles from the ocean. The beach that we always go to is completely underwater. Like, there's no more beach. The road that passes along the beach is destroyed, and my wife sent me a picture of this guy surfing this. It looks like a 30-foot monster wave. And we're in Maine. We don't get 30-foot waves.
Right.
Like, it was insane. So we haven't been down. And the river by my house is insanely high. It's a weird storm, because it didn't seem that bad when it happened, but the water and the seas and the surf are just insanely high.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was so surreal for it. Like, I flew into Philly and I consciously made the decision to not bring my big jacket, because I was like, it's gonna be fine up there. It's not gonna. I looked on the Weather Channel, and it was like, it's gonna be in the mid 40s, upper 30s. I have a windbreaker and like a top jacket. Like, I should be fine. And we get there, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. It was like, what's that movie, Frozen? It was like Elsa was pissed and just started throwing shit at us, right?
So
it
you
was
want
terrible,
to build
man.
a nor'easter?
Exactly. So yeah, man, that was crazy. And then we got back. We flew back yesterday, found a nice cigar bar to kind of cool our heels in. Today we drove into where our show is. We'll set up tomorrow, and then I finally get to go home for like 2 or 3 days coming up on Wednesday. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I hope everything smooths out for the rest of the trip.
Man, me too, dude. Me too.
So you're in Kansas now. Do anything interesting while you were around besides duck for cover? Or
we did. Well, when we were in Philly, even though it was pouring snow so hard you couldn't see anything, we stopped and we ate at a Philly cheesesteak place. We looked up on Yelp and found like a good Philly cheesesteak place, which was funny because it ended up being the same Philly cheesesteak place that we had gone to like 2 years ago. We just randomly picked it again.
Dude,
and
that always happens with Hotwire hotels and me. I'll just hotwire a hotel, and you don't know what you're going to get before it comes up, and it pops up, and then I get there, and I'm like, oh, I've been here like 4 times.
Yeah, I've been here. Yeah. That's exactly. Well, we had the same thought. So we got our Philly cheesesteaks, and I don't know if you guys all Monday Clubbers remember, but I've been not eating the meat for months and months and months now, and then I broke it by eating a Philly cheesesteak, which was not really the smartest thing I could do while on tour.
Yeah, how's your stomach?
It was pretty rough there for a couple of days. So yeah, that's finally out of my system. But then once I broke the streak, we flew back into Kansas, and I was like, well, I've already broken it, so let's get some Kansas City barbecue too. So I'm not saying I'm back on the meats, but I have over the last couple of days broken my meat vow.
It's tough when you're on the road. You just want that comfort food.
You do, man. Yeah, it's like mac and cheese and barbecue ribs are delicious. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what you believe; they're very good.
Well, I hope your bowels are okay after that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Teachable moments. All right, my teachable moment this week is I haven't actually done this, but I had this like a lightning strike to my brain that lit this bulb above my head on my way to my gig, the corporate party I was doing in Boston. So it's an 1.5-hour drive, and I have this really nice sharp suit that I wear for corporate events, and so I don't like driving in it. Especially sometimes I'll get a snack or drink some water or coffee on the road, and one little bump, and all of a sudden your $1,200 suit is ruined, right? So
right.
So I like to change when I get to these places unless it's under a half an hour. The problem is you don't have a frickin' changing room. They don't have a green room for you at corporate events. I'm strolling magic in a frickin' bowling alley, right? So here is what I thought. You're changing in a restroom when you get to these places.
Right.
You go to the handicap restroom, the big stall, and you're changing in there. And when you take off your shoes, you don't know what the hell you're stepping on. Somebody's fecal matter or urine that's been splattered all over the place. Who knows when that stall has been cleaned last? Here's my idea, Monday Club. Adult changing pads for the road warrior. I found these on Amazon, and they're basically absorbent changing pads that you can put underneath your bed sheets. If you, they're for the elderly, or they're for babies.
Are they blue?
They're blue
on one side.
Yeah, they can use them for pets too.
Yeah,
they can pee on them, and they're absorbent. They're disposable, and they're 23 by 26 inches, so it's almost 2 feet by 2 feet. Plenty of space for you to take your shoes off, stand sock, with your socks on this pad, and you can change comfortably without worrying about getting your feet full of this gross stuff from this restroom floor, and then just throw it out afterwards. And so I am one-clicking this to my Amazon Prime, and I'm going to carry these with me wherever I go for when I need to change in restrooms, because I'm a freaking germaphobe, and it's gross to get your socks on wet restroom floors.
Pete, first and foremost, I think you're a genius, okay? Because it is one of my least favorite parts about getting ready for shows is changing in a public bathroom. And I've gotten so desensitized to it that I've worked corporate gigs where they've walked into the, you're at a hotel, so there's one restroom in a hotel in the conference center area of the hotel, and I've like straight up just like taken my shirt off and had an undershirt, and then like a homeless person just stuffed a bunch of paper towels in my collar and then shaved in there, and people have walked in and just seen me just like, it looks like Bagger Vance and like, anyway, but there's nothing that deflates my rock star ego as much as changing into my nice game show suit. And while I'm changing into my game show suit, there's somebody just taking a gnarly shit in the stall right next to me. So I totally get your germaphobness of the stall. So yeah, I think you bringing your own little pad to set up in the stall area and just make your own space, I think that's genius, man. And it won't cost you that much, and it will make you feel a little bit better. So kudos to that teachable moment.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Speaking of price, only $26 for a 50-pack. What, 50 cents a piece?
Yeah. No,
Worth
it's awesome. When I had surgery one time on my butt, and I had a bunch of stitches up and down my butt and my back, and I still needed money, so I was driving to I was having other people drive me to do walk-around gigs, and I would lay those pads, those exact same pads you're talking about, I'd lay those down on the back seat, and then I would drive to the gig just laying down on the back seat of a car, and it was so I didn't bleed into the car. So I could go to do this walk around gigs, and then I would roll out of the car as best I could without popping my stitches, and then do a really like a Frankenstein walk around to do the gig, and then go lay back at the car and then drive back home. Like it was not a good period of time in my life.
Damn. Or you can use them to absorb your blood.
Yeah. Well, that's a great teachable moment. All right, so my teachable moment is this, peeps. We've gone to a couple of different cigar bars, James and I, on this tour. The first one was in Paducah, Kentucky, and we found it was like a early 1900s downtown historical district that had a really cool cigar bar in there. And what was really nice is while we were sitting around just hanging out, it was my favorite part about cigar bars, which was the locals came in, sat down with us, started a conversation, and we learned more about the city and about the vibe of that town just by hanging out and having some drinks and smoking a cigar in the cigar bar than you would doing almost anything else. I mean, you really got a taste of the local flavor. So that was really, really fun, and they told us about restaurants that we needed to try and all of that. So so that goes in the win category. In the fail category, last night we were in Kansas City, Missouri. We found this amazing cigar bar. It had a huge humidor. It had 3 or 4 private rooms. It had, I think the occupancy of their lounge was something like 400 people. It quite literally had at least 3 bars set up in there, and they couldn't sell alcohol, but they had just had a private event, so they had 2 kegs that were there that were free beer for anyone who just came in that night. They had a pizza oven, like a brick oven pizza thing built into the wall of this cigar bar, so I don't know, I guess they could have parties and fire up their own brick oven style pizzas. I mean, the place was freaking amazing. But they had turned it into a sports lounge, so they had TVs on every wall with each TV playing a different sports channel, and the volume cranked up so high that you couldn't talk to anybody. And it ended up, we just sat there and smoked our cigar and never spoke to a single human at all. We were just sitting there listening and watching sports on TV. And while the lounge was amazing, it's not someplace that I think I'm going to go back to, because we didn't get we could have been anywhere in any city doing anything, and we couldn't really talk to anybody. So it was kind of isolating. So yeah, my teachable moment is if you're having a party or you're having friends over, unless the reason you're having friends over is to watch sports or watch a TV show or watch a movie, don't have your TV on. Like, talk to a human being and practice conversation, because otherwise what happens is the flashing box will kick on and everyone will just kind of stop talking and stare at the flashing box, and it's just really hard to carry on a meaningful conversation. So turn the TVs off while you're having people over.
I couldn't agree with that more. If I ever go to a place where we're having drinks and having a party, I'm like, hey, sometimes and the TV's on, I'll ask, I'm like, hey, can we turn that off?
Yeah, I've started doing that too.
It takes my attention away, and I'm like, I don't want to be watching TV. I can do this shit at home. Yeah,
I'm so ADD. Like, when I'm at a Applebee's or something like that, even with a large group of people, if there's a TV on, I try to sit with my back to the TV, because otherwise, if I can see it, every time it flickers, I'll like turn my head super quick to look up at it, and then I break. I'm not part of the conversation anymore. And then I find myself staring and watching like commercials instead of communicating with the people that I'm hanging out with. So yeah, turn off your damn TV when you're hanging out with people.
Changing pads for absorbing blood or urine, and turn off your TVs, people. Hails bells, brother!
Well, my friend, it was good to talk to you and tell people to get off our lawn. Happy Monday to you, sir.
Happy Monday to you as well. Kicker in the Dickson! Show title! That was brilliant! Welcome. Thank you guys so much for listening to Monday Club. Check us out, MondayClubPodcast.com, Facebook.com/Monday Club Podcast, Twitter, Monday Club Pod, Instagram, Monday Club Podcast. Email us questions, comments, concerns, buy us a drink. PayPal us at MondayClubPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, James Caldwell, our sound engineer, and Zach Holder for our amazing music. You guys are amazing Monday Club maniacs. Thank you for being awesome. Have a good Monday.
Bells, bells.